What's going on, guys? This is a 2020 F350, and the customer sent this vehicle to our shop. It was in an accident at a high speed, well, in a high speed accident, and it messed up this whole front corner. So the other shop did most of the, the suspension work and stuff like that, but they don't have the special tools to set the seal depth on the front axle here. And there's a special procedure to remove this. You can't just stick this axle in here. You have to pound the seal on the knuckle area, and then you have to use the same tool, but except you switch out the end and you drive the axle into the housing to a certain depth. And what basically they did was, when they were doing all their suspension work, knocking stuff off and everything else, they ended up mushrooming out the head of the axle assembly, and the hub actuator will not slide on it. And basically, instead of using a hand file and filing down every single one of them, I created this nice tapered end on an 18 TPI DeWalt blade, but any metal cutting blade. 14 TPI, 18 TPI. I went finer, 18 TPI, so it's easier for me to clean up. And basically, you can see how I've got some of the teeth started and cut through the mushroom that they put into it, and I work my way around one at a time, cutting that mushroom just out of the end, not letting the blade draw down the rest of the channel, but just on the end to create that true spot. Again, there's one done, then I move off to the next one here, clean up that end, and then move off to the next one, clean off that end, and I work my way around slowly, and I do each individual spot that's mushroomed so I can get rid of that area. And then I take a hand file when it's all said and done, and I re-go back over, like, just really nice, finely clean up those grooves so there's no burrs, there's no edges, there's nothing to stop me. And as I'm working my way around, I'm cutting these teeth back. I have to go back and retrace a couple of them, but I don't ever go down the whole entire groove. I just do the end where the taper's at, and I cut the mushroom out of it. And instead of charging them a bunch of money and putting a new axle assembly and stuff in it, I'm just going to go through and fix what has already been damaged so I can get this hub actuator installed. Here it is, real nice in the initial phase of it being clean. I'm going to go to a hand file. I see a couple spots that I wanted to actually clean up a little bit more, and then I go to a hand file to clean it up even further, and then clean all the debris and stuff out of the actual hub assembly here. And here, battery started going low on the phone, so I had to grab my work light and my Cyclops. And then I've got everything blown out of there, all the shavings and stuff. I recut all my grooves real nice and fine. Went over it several times with my hand file, and now it's installed. Everything went together great, no problems, job well done. And I'll just take my little Torx bolts and just snug them up around there. And let's check the locking and unlocking assembly here, and just clean up everything real good. Almost every component that came apart, including the wheel bearing bolts on the back of this whole entire assembly, were 21 millimeter. Lug nuts 21 millimeter, caliper anchor bracket 21 millimeter. The four nuts that go to the back of the wheel bearing that hold the entire assembly on, 21 millimeter. And then, of course, I referenced the procedure in the beginning by knocking you have to bang the hell out of the seal to get it on the knuckle area. It's quite a bit of force to get it all set properly. And then when you go to install the axle assembly, if you install it too deep when you go put your wheel bearing on, you won't be able to put your snap ring in the end of it, and then you'll have to go from the back side of the axle and tap it forward a little bit until you have room to snap your snap ring around the end of on the other side of the universal joint where it goes through the wheel bearing. So at this point, we're going to actually check the locking and unlocking feature, or lock and auto. So eventually I stopped talking here. There, I gave my thumbs up, so it probably said job well done right there. But there's so much music in the background. There's freewheeling, no axle rotation. And then I go ahead and put it in manual lock. And it sets in right there, and it locks. It's in manual lock right now. We're going to go ahead and put it back in auto and unlock it, and then freewheel. Job well done. Put everything back together. Be blessed.